There we go. So, yeah, we have the move a4 showing a miss
Yeah,
from Gleb.
I don't know, perhaps it was like a bishop before was needed, something like that. But after a4 now, 1.5 advantage for Robbie here. So there must be something. I feel like it's f5. I feel like it's this move needs to be played. f5,
Attacking the knight.
attacking the knight, and then,
Now you trade bishops.
yeah, always happy to trade
King
bishops.
takes. Yeah.
I can even
weakening
play
the
like
white
knight
squares.
b6 here, attacking this. I can even just play c6, just protect my pawn. And then follow it up with knight b6. I can go even knight f6. Not only black is up a pawn, he also got that nice knight on c4, like a nice anchor there. So it's just, you know, very nice position to play extra pawn and a lot of time. So
Yeah, and Robbie won his first game. He's got a great position with the black pieces in this game. So, and Nicolosi also someone that he won with white.
yeah,
Now he's got the black pieces now. So I know Webster during the drawing of colors yesterday got black in the third round. So that means you'll have
we
white.
have white on 1 and 3 against them. Yeah.
So how big was that for your team, or maybe the color isn't so important?
I don't know. It's not that important, the color. I think it just depends how the players are playing. I wouldn't say it's a big advantage to have 1 and 3. It's just you're still gonna have two guys who are gonna be blocked. They have to play from the defense, so your two guys gonna have white.
But
So I think it's fine. So that means Robbie will have white, Nicolosi will have white.
Your top boards though.
Yeah, will have white.
Yeah. So do they have a personal preference? Do you know? Do they like playing with the
No,
white piece?
I think everybody would prefer to have a white, but in a team situation, whatever you're assigned to play, that's the color you're gonna play with, you know. So, but yeah, I think they, you know, they probably are fine with having extra white, you know.
So that means Tianki will have the black pieces.
Yeah,
Like he'd
most
be
likely.
ready with either
Most
color.
likely, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now I know if we pull up the St. Louis roster, we saw you also have an alternate player, Shelev
yeah,
Oberoi.
yeah, yes.
Is he here?
Yeah, but I think most likely we'll probably gonna stick with our top 4 players.
Shelev, I know, played a large part of the season in the Collegiate Chess League last semester.
Yeah, because we didn't have our new players. So he's a good online player. He's a very good online player. He did play 2 games for our team in the Panams, and he won both.
Wow.
So he comes to the trainings. He's, you know, participates, but right now he is really like to the blitz chess. That's his forte. You know.
Now I know St. Louis also had lower division teams. Was Shelev part of those teams?
No, lower division we had just our master team masters. Now we have a team of national masters and the expert player on that team.
Okay. So we can take it back to the board here.
Sure.
Nicolosi is starting to get low on time with the black pieces
Yeah,
here.
yeah. He I think realizes that he did something wrong, and he cannot trade all the rooks here because then the king is going to come to b5. So that's why he played this move. I don't know how good this is, but he basically is just waiting right now a little bit.
I don't think he's moved
Oh,
since
this
here.
is the position.
This is
oh,
the live
okay. So
position
that was
here.
the analysis. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he hasn't traded rooks yet.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, he needs to
do you
trade one
think-
pair of rooks.
Could he go rook to d6?
You can, but you don't want to trade all the rooks anyway here, because then the king is gonna come to b5. So
Okay.
I think just trade one pair of rooks and play this move because you want to try to expand a little bit on this side of the board. So the white doesn't have any weaknesses, so you really want to try to create some weaknesses maybe. But there's no entry points here. The knight is doing a good job here, so you can't really enter anywhere.
So it's a waiting game.
Yeah, so if let's say you play here, maybe you can even just play g6. Stop f5. If you play g4, then I can take, then I can suddenly get my rook active. Like this would be I think the approach that he needs to do here to hold. But he's definitely defending, so he's not he's not having that much fun here, just because of that a5 move.
Yeah, yeah, it's really instructive. You have to play b5 first, preventing a4.
Avoid getting fixed.
Yeah.
Very important.
So really, it's like white's 2 pawns on the queen side are holding back black's 3 pawns. And yeah, does this make you nervous, or do you think Nicolosi could hold a draw here?
I think if he plays accurately, the position is still holdable, but he did created some unnecessary problems.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And then can we take a look at Batsuren's game?
Sure.
Against Sean. Sean's a very strong player. We were mentioning.
Yeah, I don't know about
world
this move
champion.
bishop e2. I mean, this seems a little bit passive. I think I would like bishop b4 here.
You want it on e4
Yeah, so
on
I
the
don't know about this
diagonal.
move now. I guess I think it's a little bit better for him, but I think I still prefer the bishop to be on e4. I'm not sure why is the bishop not there. So a little bit of an advantage, of course. One of the ideas to play knight d2, knight d4 at some point to try to get into f6, try to take advantage of this square, but it's not going to be easy to do. And we see the time advantage a little bit disappearing here. Still a little bit better for white, but not that much.
Now, when Robbie graduates, is Batsuren going to be the most senior player?
Yeah, he will be the most senior player on the team, on the current team. So he's one of the candidates to be, but we also have some very strong players, over 2,600 players on the team. So they're also candidates to lead the team. So just because they're very strong and experienced players. So we'll have to see, but we'll definitely have a strong team for the next season of CCL and also in this next Pan American Championship.
So I think Pan Am's was most recently held at Charlotte.
Yes.
I wanted to ask, has there ever been a conversation or a thought of maybe hosting Pan Am's in St. Louis?
No, not in St. Louis. I think maybe Chicago they're trying to do, or maybe they're going to do it there, but not in St. Louis. You need somebody who will. It's not easy to organize tournament with that many players. So I've organized tournaments, smaller scale tournaments, but like a GM and Iron tournament, like 20 players. But something like that, it's just you need a lot of help, a lot of volunteers. So Charlotte did a great job, but they're professionals. They organize a lot of tournaments there, and the tournament was very well organized. So we're always happy to go there and play tournaments.
I had a St. Louis question for you. Robbie had mentioned you guys celebrate with pizza pretty regularly. Do you guys ever get Emo's pizza?
Not the Emos, but we've tried all the ones, different ones. Pizza Hut, Domino's they like even Whole Foods has a Pizza Hut.
Okay.
Tried the Costco, so we tried all of them.
Well, so have you personally had Emo's?
I had Emos, yeah.
And your
I liked
thoughts?
Emos. It was good.
Okay,
It was
okay.
good, yeah, I like Emos, yeah.
That's the St. Louis
There is
staple.
one near my house. I've definitely ordered from them before.
Emo's is one of my. I don't know if you know that I'm a St. Louis native.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, because my dad actually went to SLU.
Oh, okay.
So I was born and raised in St. Louis, and I'm a big fan of Emo's
Good.
for sure.
Good.
But okay,
All right, I think I'm going to go check out
Yeah.
the games.
I think we're
Sure.
gonna bring back Brian.
Brian, okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
unless Brian has anyone else he wants to sub in for his place. It looks.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much,
pleasure.
Flar. Thank you
See
very
you.
much,
See you.
and good luck
Yeah.
in the rest
Thank
of
you.
the tournament.
Thank you.
All right, looks like we have the Israeli champion joining us, another UT Dallas representative.
Hello.
Hello, you mind introducing yourself?
I'm Eir Parkov, and I'm a Israeli chess championship right now.
And so, how long have you been a champion?
I just won the championship on January.
Okay, so really recently.
Yeah.
Okay, and was that your first time competing in the event?
In the Israeli championship? No. I
Okay.
competed in the past.
How many times?
I think 3 times or 4 times.
Okay. So who beat you previously, and did you beat them back this time?
Um, I didn't face the same opponents.
Okay.
I think.
So who was the champion before you?
Before me it was Ido Goldstein.
Okay. And he didn't play?
He played, but I didn't face him.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what's the championship format?
It's like a Swiss, 9 rounds, and 30 players.
Okay. So congratulations.
Thanks.
Um, and yeah, are you a student here at UT Dallas?
Yeah, it is my first year. I came like half year ago.
How do you like? Is this the first time you've lived in the U.S.?
Yeah.
How do you like it so far?
Uh, it's nice.
How old are you?
22.
Okay. So what are you studying?
Computer science.
Okay, that's a good degree, I heard.
Yeah.
And obviously you're a big part of the chess team here. You're not competing, but you think, or are you on the roster for the team?
Yeah, of course.
Can we pull up the Dallas roster and
Okay.
see? So you're an alternate right now. No, that's the St. Louis one. We want the Dallas. So we've got Gustav, we've got Ivan, Balaji, Aditya, we've got Andre McAvey, and Carlos Yuxta.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, I think you guys just lost to St. Louis in that first round.
Yeah.
How are you liking your team's chances against Webster so far?
We can look at the games.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Andre game. Can we back to the...
Yeah.
Okay, so it was French Steinitz. Her bishop d3 is like, I think, the most accurate line for white. Here after knight took c5.
Yeah, we've looked at this position a lot. You see the eval bar doesn't like it for black. That's a big question mark.
Yeah, it was like a question like if white can take on h7 or
Mhm.
not. So let's check it.
So
Knight
the
g5.
Greek gift sacrifice,
Yeah.
opening up the king.
Black master takes the knight. Taking. Now important point that the knight on c5 is hanging. The knight must move over to d7 or knight e4. What do you think?
Oh, maybe you try to be more active.
a4.
Go to the center.
Okay.
Oh, it hates that.
Same
But
giant
either
height.
way, the queen's coming out with check, right?
Yeah, either way, check and rook is coming.
Exactly. So if the knight has to go backwards,
For example, if knight e4, I think it's just we can take queen h5, king
and
g8,
rook left.
and
Yes.
rook 4, just finishing the game with rook h4, because after every f5, g6 is just finishing. So
So if the knight goes backwards,
knights go backwards, we can check g8. Now we can play rook f4 or rook f3. Let's say rook f3. Knight takes. Rook h3. Think f6 or f5 is a move.
So now if we play g6, they can sack. Okay, so they
okay.
sack the piece back,
Stack the piece back,
and there's some sort of survival chances.
yeah, maybe some survival chances for black, but I think
That's still very good.
yeah, because for example queen f6 facing with queen h7, king f7 and rook h6.
Oh wow.
So I think it's kind of dangerous for black.
Yeah. Well, this was unfortunately missed from Andre.
Yeah,
So he didn't go for the Greek gift sacrifice, instead missed, and then it ended up being a more even position.
yeah, he played knight d4, which is also a very typical move in these positions. Bishop e7 typical. Okay. Here I think that white has a small advantage. What do you think?
Yeah, I think white has a stronger center. I like the space with the e pawn. I think the bishops are a bit more active for white. Um, and I think it's easier for white to get an attack at black's king. Queen to e1 here, just putting more pressure on the knight in the center, maybe threatening to win a pawn.
Yeah. Also we have like a time pressure that like Andre has uh 23 minutes more than Harsha. So yeah, I hope we will win this game.
Yeah, that's looking good. Maybe we look at the next game.
Okay. Let's from the beginning. Okay, so this is one of the lines. I think that bishop f5 wasn't that accuracy. Uh, because the bishop on f5 reminds us the Krokan. But actually we can also play e6 with idea of a5 and exchange the bishop on a6.
Yeah.
Uh, the bishop on f5 sometimes can get vulnerable by knight e2, knight g3, and
Mhm.
h4. He played knight f3, e6, bishop g5. Um, and here I think that white got some advantage because the knight on a2 is planning to go to b3, and black actually can't play c5 because of bishop takes d5 sometimes.
Yeah. So the knight can take advantage. C5 is a vulnerable square in black's position.
Yeah. Uh, a5 is also an important move that black will not play a5 himself. So here is just normal moves. And I think that white has a lot of pressure on c line.
So the position's looking good for white, but Balaji does have a time advantage here, about 20 minutes. Do you think that's a really important thing to consider, or do you think Lazaro is pretty good under time pressure, and you would rather have the positional advantage than the time advantage, right?
Yeah. I think that it's very good to consider because Balaji is playing very fast and he might escape with some bishop e4 tricks. And I don't think that with time pressure the position is the same as with a lot of time remaining.
Did you want to look at the next game?
Yeah. Um,
We've got Emilio Cordova
we have
against.
Carolis first.
Okay.
Okay.
Corliss versus Yasser Casada Perez. Yasser from Webster University. Corliss here from Dallas.
Yeah. So here in the opening, I think that Carolis got surprised by c6, which is called Notebaum. And he played e3. e4 is like the main line in the opening. Take, bishop b4. bishop d2. White sacrifice the pawn to take a bishop, and with the weaknesses of the dark squares,
Mm-hmm.
c6 and e6 gets to white a lot of compensation. Here white can play bishop e2, sacrifice the second pawn with a large theory, and also knight e2. I move with a lot of theory. So Karl is picked e3, which is more solid and transferring to Miran. Here is just here queen d3. I think that queen c2 is much more natural to play.
Mm-hmm.
Because after queen d3, the queen can face the rook in the line sometimes. Rook c1 is logical against queen. Here I think that the best move for white was to play queen b1 with some ideas of e4 in the future. I think that taking on d5.
Why can't you play e4 immediately?
I think you can take, and
Where our d pawn is pinned by their rook,
yeah,
so
but
there's some ideas.
some ideas of knight e5, but here it's not working because take, and the queen can just go.
Now the queen can
Back.
come back.
And c6, this will be exchange, and c6 will be a bit weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Black can take and c5,
Okay.
and simplifying the position.
If we push
d5,
d5,
knight f6
Okay.
is facing.
nice.
So I think we need to prepare it with queen b1 first, and then bishop d3 maybe
Mm-hmm.
to push e4. After taking, we getting some unique pawn structures, and here I think that black can start to play on the king side with some ideas of h5.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's an aggressive move for sure. Would you just play h4 without any support?
Oh, I think we can play h4, then to play knight g5.
Mm-hmm. So just
Okay.
trying to open things up. Also, I want to point out Yasser Perez with 49 minutes compared to Corollas at 1450 is quite the time gap. Is that concerning at all for your teammate?
Yeah, it's a bit concerning.
But do you know if Corollas likes to play under time pressure? Is he a fast player?
I think he is a fast player and can handle it as a time pressure.
Do you prefer playing fast early so that you have a time advantage, or do you like to take your time and maybe be in a little bit more time pressure later on?
I prefer to avoid time pressure as much as possible and to play faster at the beginning.
Okay. So probably that's what Yasser Casada Perez did.
Yeah.
Especially, with Corollas with the white pieces, you would hope you would be maybe more comfortable with the opening, but maybe it seems black knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And so are comfortable here.
Yeah, here after knight g5, Carlos played knight f1 and missed queen c8 idea. The idea of black is to play knight h3. White can't play h4 because knight h3 is
Mhm.
coming and f2 is hanging.
Yeah, f2 is a very weak square there. If you move the king to h1, you're getting your king and queen forked. So yeah, queen to c8, very strong idea. Just eyeing the h3 square, working with the knight, and you kind of have to give up the bishop in that line.
Yeah, and giving the bishop on g2 is very disappointing to white because of all of the white squares uh, became vulnerable for the king. So Carlos played f3, and after knight h3, he must give up his bishop because of knight f2 is coming. Here I think black has an big advantage.
Yeah, a lot of pawn pushes in front of the white king. You could compare the two kings. Black hasn't moved a single pawn in front of their king, so it's a very nice defensive structure. The king is sitting very safely, whereas white's king, all the pawns have been pushed. And so when you push a pawn, it creates a permanent weakness because the pawns can't go backwards. And so black really has a lot of fun in these positions, being able to pick apart the position, and black also has the bishop pair. We saw, as you pointed out, light square weaknesses are a concern when white gives up the fianchettoed bishop, and maybe at some point black can consider trying to open up their light square bishop by pushing c5.
Yeah, I'm totally agree. And also, e3 pawn is became a weaknesses because f2 moved to f3 and pawns are not going back. So now black ideas can be related with doubling the rooks on e file and pushing c5 to open the bishop.
Yeah, we have one last game we can look
Yeah.
at. Yeah, Emilio Cordova versus Sama Aditya.
Okay. So we got a reverse Najdorf here. After e3, Aditya played a6, which is kind of a very clever move because after b4 he can play g5, what he did. And also after bishop e2, he made a plan to play g5 with some aggressive game. So in the game it was b4, g5, bishop b2, bishop g7, bishop e2, g4, and h5, which is kind of reminding Najdorf with h3, but white didn't space the pawn on h3 and then h4. Black did it in one move, h5. So black must be okay in this position. Emilio Cordova played knight e3. Here black decided to take, and queen d5. Maybe it was more clever to play bishop e6 or f5 first to complete the develop of pieces before we are moving with the queen. But queen d5 is also fine. Castling. b6. Here's Aditya played interesting move, b6. He could also played bishop e6 or f5, which is typical for this position. He played b6 with idea to play bishop b7 and to take the diagonal of a8 to h1.
Yeah, he's going for checkmate.
Yeah.
He wants to take on g2, line up the bishop and the queen, which makes a lot of sense for sure. And last I looked, I think we were thinking black probably wants to castle queenside as well, after pushing so many kingside pawns. So uh, the fianchetto makes some sense, and the knight can move with any discovery. So would you be nervous with white, or do you think that diagonal can be blocked pretty easily?
I think the diagonal can be broke because of the lack of develop of black. Black needs two more moves to complete his develop, and white already completed. I think that f3 uh, can be an interesting move here to block the diagonal and ask black what he's doing with g4 pawn. Black can't play f5 because of e4 is coming, and white just crashing the whole pawn structure. And bishop h6 is a very logical move to aim on a3. Can face some dynamic move with knight e4. And here black can face some troubles because of lack of development.
Yeah, I actually see a big fork
Yeah.
coming up. So, yeah, I think that's interesting. We give up the pawn with check, but we get a really strong knight in the center and try to catch black's king uncastled, as well as the queen, just kind of in no man's land. So, yeah, here, knight f6, big fork, royal fork.
Yeah.
So obviously that has to be dealt with in this position. So is this the live position, or is this a line?
No, it's a line.
Okay.
Cordova played rook c1. After f3, I think that black needs to play queen e6 to protect g4 pawn, and
Okay.
then complete his develop with bishop b7 and long castling. In the game, it was rook c1, bishop b7, e4. Cordova just block the
Mhm.
diagonal. Queen d7, knight e4, long castle. The engine don't like it. Maybe f5 was more accurate.
Yeah. So after queenside castles, I'm trying to figure out the move. Do you think it's okay, it likes a4, which makes sense, right? Attacking where the king is.
Yeah, backing the king with b5
I was
and knight takes b6 is coming because of the rook
beautiful.
against the king.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very strong idea for sure. I also figure like the e pawn looks a little weak to me. I was wondering if f4 made any sense, but maybe you're opening up the g file. Maybe that's unwanted, but a4 b5 is just very direct,
Yeah, absolutely.
very simple.
So Aditya played king b8, which makes a lot of sense to avoid the king in the same file of
I'd
the
still
rook.
play b5. This was played.
Like
Yeah,
Cordova.
we want to kick the knight away.
Yeah. Knight d4,
Okay.
which makes also a lot of sense. Blake don't want to take on b5 because it opens a line and the kings becomes more vulnerable.
Yeah.
So knight d4. Emila took the knight. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest proponent of taking knights with bishop, giving up the bishop pair. When black takes back, I assume they take with the pawn, opens up their bishop a little bit more on the dark squares, but maybe they take with the queen, so they have an option. But otherwise, I mean, it's not like you could save the bishop pair anyways. If you don't take it, your light square bishop is trapped. But you also have a lot of pawns on light squares, so usually that bishop isn't as valuable as the dark square bishop that can maybe see a little bit more of the board. So what are your thoughts? Should you take the knight or no?
I think we need to take the knight because knight also aims on the bishop on e2, and not just aim on him. After black will took the knight, the bishop on e2, d3 will hanging. So I don't think that white has a choice to keep the
Yeah.
bishop.
Yeah, there's no other way to conveniently defend the d pawn.
Okay.
So okay, takes with pawn. Would
Yeah.
you take that way?
With pawn or with the queen? I think that with the pawn more logical
Mm-hmm.
to play f5 in the future, and the bishop is coming the whole diagonal. Let's look at taking with the queen. I think that white can take on a6 and to play, for example, queen b3 with a5 is coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just going after the black king, and that looks like a strong attack. So yeah, the
Yeah.
computer didn't like black after queenside castles, but that was really the only way black would castle, because kingside seemed a little too weakening, and leaving the king in the center is also probably not the best idea. But there's a lot of lines here where castling queenside can look like a mistake because of white's access along the B and C files. Also thanks to pushing the A pawn as well. So black doesn't go for this. Oh, that would be another
Yeah.
big royal fork idea as well.
Yeah. Another idea is knight a5 to go to knight e6. So maybe the black must to move the king.
Or they gotta move
one
their
more,
bishop back.
or the bishop back one more time to protect all of the attack of white. So
But pawn takes instead.
yeah,
We still
taking them,
capture,
still
right?
capturing.
You still bring the queen in. It's the
queen
same
b3.
idea, but the computer doesn't like it so much anymore.
Yeah. Maybe it's too slow. Maybe we need to try with a5 first.
A5 immediately.
I also don't like it, maybe because of b5 is coming.
B5 keeping the file closed.
Yeah. Knight e2.
And now black can shift their focus back. Would you play F5 now? Or
I think f5 can be kinda risky because the knight on d2
it's gonna
gonna come to c5.
okay.
For example, this.
Or you could take the pawn and go
And
knight E4.
Yeah, and take control on c5 square. What about bishop h6?
So pinning the knight.
c5.
Unpinning the knight.
It looks good for white, actually. White will come rook f to c1, and white actually pressuring c7, and also queen can come to f4 to pressure c7. So what do you think what black is doing here?
What if it's a completely new idea here? Black starts a pawn storm on the queen side, c5. No, c5 rook takes. Maybe the bishop goes to e5.
Yeah, interesting idea. Knight b3.
Can we push? I wanna. I don't know. You think maybe
Maybe
rook?
queen d6 to aim on h2. For example, if g3, h4, we can push with some attack on the king side.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking rook d to g8, but that's probably too slow, right? Knight c5 hits with tempo.
Yeah, knight e5 is with the
Yeah.
tempo.
So queen d6, not only dodging the knight c5 attack, but also creating your own attack. And
Yeah.
the problem also with playing h4 earlier is you just drop your g pawn with the tempo. So this all comes together. Yeah. Now g3 defending. Now you can play h4
Yeah.
with no worries. So some attacking chances here for Aditya with the black pieces, who both of these players won in their previous round. So they're both perfect so far. And it's kind of been a back and forth game here. It looks like both sides having chances and opportunities.
Yeah. So in the game, it was queen b3. Aditya played rook h6. Maybe it's too slow. Maybe h4. Or do you think that knight a5 or knight b6 can come? And this is the reason Aditya played rook h6.
Yeah, defensive move, guarding both c6 and b6. So paying some respect to the knight on c4.
Emino continue with rook c2. Probably he wants to double his rooks on c file. And Aditya respond with f5.
All right, finally.
Yeah, finally. A very sharp game. And now Emilio Cordova is thinking.
I mean, both these players have a roughly even amount of time, so they've been pacing themselves. On some of the other boards, we've been seeing a bit of some time imbalances where one side's being either very slow or the other side's very fast. This is very even so far. And I thought maybe Aditya had a stronger advantage. It's only a slight advantage here. And this is the current life position.
Yeah, I think that Aditya has a slightly better position by the engine, but in human way playing, I think it's much easier to play this position with black. Black can just push the pawns h4, g3, and start mating the white king. And also the rook on h6, doing a great job protecting b6 pawn. So I think that we must win this game.
Yeah, definitely love opposite side castles attacking games are my favorite to watch because it's just an all-out attack on both sides of the board, and it's always about who can land their punches first. So it's interesting to note the rook on h6 is a really good defender. It's also contributing in the attack on the king side. But when it was played, I think the computer said it was a miss because maybe there was something faster. But in the long run, both players, if you don't play like a perfect engine, then sometimes these moves that might be considered misses are actually beneficial and very solid moves in the long run.
Yeah, also we need to consider that both of the players has only 20 minutes left. What do you think will be better in the time pressuring?
Well, I know talking to my other co-commentator, I heard that players from Peru are very good. Depending some of them, but Emilio played very well in the first round. I know Simon also won. So I don't know. I'd love to ask Brian because not only is he from Peru, but he's also a fan of UT Dallas. So who would he root for, the UT Dallas player or the Peru player? What do you think?
Uh,
Would you cheer for someone from UT Dallas over someone from Israel?
Maybe. uh, I think that Aditya uh, will win this game because uh, I watch a lot of his games and uh, he know to handle the time pressuring, and also the position is much more nicer to play with the black pieces, in my opinion. We have two bishops and much easier to attack.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that pawn storm that Black has, but I think this is a game that we'll have to keep an eye on because we could see some fireworks. White's right there as well with a move like a5, but you pointed out b5 is a good response. Um, and the rook is defending against sacrifices. White wants to bring the rook to the b file, perhaps, but yeah, a5, b5. Quite the response from Black. A very annoying defense that Emilio has to see if he can figure that out, if he can break through some other way. Did you want to look at maybe Bolagi's game? It looks like he's having a rough position against Lazaro.
Yeah, let's look. Okay. Uh, Lazaro tried to exchange the bishops on d3, and Balaji actually saying that if you want to exchange it on f5 with the move of queen d8. I think that the Balaji idea is if Lazaro will take on f5, the knight on f8 actually will take a nice square on e6 in the center, which is also protecting c5 weaknesses of black. So Lazaro played knight e1, not taking on f5. Balaji continue with knight e7, bishop a6, rook c7, knight e3, bishop e4. Now Balaji got the bishop on the long diagonal finally, which maybe gives him more chances to protect the weaknesses. Lazaro played knight c5, bishop d5, and here Lazaro is thinking.
Would you have considered taking on b4 instead with the knight? Or would that be a mistake?
I think that it might be a mistake because after taking on b4, Balaji maybe can play knight d5, taking on d5, queen takes d5.
And then I figured knight c5 at this point.
Oh yeah, so after knight takes d5, black can capture with the bishop, knight c5, and knight d7. Now white has a pawn up, but black opened the b line, and black is much more active than before. So maybe Balaji just sacrifice this pawn to see if Lazaro will take it. What do you think?
I mean, I'm a pawn grabber, so that's why I immediately wanted to take the pawn because I like material. So I wasn't entirely sure why this wouldn't have been. I also figured, black's light square bishop looks really good on that diagonal. I was hoping maybe we could bring our bishop back and try to trade, and figured this was a good way to open up our bishop.
Say grab pawns. For example, if you will play before and let the black to exchange the knight, how do you think white can win this position with the very strong bishop on d5?
Well, I was hoping we could trade it like bishop to c4 at some point.
For example, rook d7.
Yeah, maybe we could still play bishop c4.
Okay, take,
Rook takes.
takes, and yeah, maybe white can play like this.
Maybe
Probably Lazaro.
he wouldn't trade.
Uh,
Maybe not. Yeah, here I was considering maybe we bring our other knight to.
he was thinking
to
about
c5.
knight takes before. Can I see it? If he was thinking about it.
Was this what was played or just announced?
No, it was knight if I was playing.
Yeah.
Probably he was thinking about taking the pawn. He used your idea again. Bishop c4 to trade the strong bishop. And now Balaji is thinking.
Okay, so he does go bishop c4 here. And yeah, these players also pretty even on time. Also wanted to welcome everyone that's watching online. Shout out to Megan and Six Man who's reading for UT Dallas. Six Man, if you're actually at UT Dallas, you can come watch us live in person. We actually have an audience here. And you can even feel free to ask us some questions. We've got some fans here. I think we missed the family earlier that stopped by. But yeah, welcome. Do you guys both play chess? Yeah? Who's the better player? This guy? Oh, he points to himself too. He knows. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, maybe a future collegiate player himself. So, yeah, these are the top 4 U.S. colleges that qualified through Pan Ams. This is the U.S. College Team Championship, hosted once again at UT Dallas, who hosted it in its initial season, I guess you'd call it, in 2001. So 2 schools from Texas, Dallas and Rio Grande Valley, and 2 teams from St. Louis, SLU and Webster University, who is currently playing against UT Dallas. After looking at the games, how do you feel the Dallas team's chances are?
I think we have some chances in Aditya game. We also have some chances in Andre game. I think we worse in Balaji game, but with his style and playing fast during time pressure, we can handle this game.
So it's still in the air.
And we are also worse at Karolis game.
Yeah, those are looking a little rough, but maybe Makove and Aditya can hold the team together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially, you guys don't want to lose too much after you lost the first round to St. Louis, so you have to hold your ground a little bit against these St. Louis schools.
Yeah.
So, and then you'll have a chance tomorrow. We'll be back again at 10 a.m. local time, where you'll play against your in-state rivals at Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah.
So, have you played in any of the Texas State championships, or have you played against UTRGV?
Yeah, actually I played against UTRGV, and also I played against Webster and St. Louis in January uh, during the Panams.
How'd you do?
Uh, Against Webster, I played against Harsha and I drew. Um, Against St. Louis, I was playing against number 7 and drew. And I think I lost against Dudin against UTRGV.
Yeah, Duden's a very strong player. He is their top board, and we were actually looking at his game against Robbie, and we actually have their board as the main focus on our player camera. But interestingly, it looked like Robbie was doing a lot better earlier. It's still pretty good for black, but the biggest thing that I notice is the time advantage. Robbie has over 3 times Duden's time. But Duden, obviously, a very strong blitz player. 8 minutes, plenty of time for him, especially with a 30-second increment. How do you feel about Duden's chances here? Do you think that he can try to hold a draw here, or do you think Robbie's going to come out the victor?
I think that Robbie will come out with the victor because Robbie has a pawn up, and I can't see any compensation for white at this point. But in time pressure, everything can be happen.
I think White gets compensation because they get to go first. I think that's where his compensation is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, of course, Robbie's doing great here with black. Robbie won in the first round with the black pieces, I believe. So, actually, no, he won with white.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
won
so
with
now
white
he has
against
black.
Ivan.
So, who do you think is the favorite to win based off the results we've seen so far? This whole event.
Who is leading?
St. Louis is leading, but only by half a point. Well, I guess technically they already had a draw. So the interesting thing about the President's Cup format is it's not about match points. It's not about winning your matches. It's about your total game points. So after round 1, SLU was ahead by half a point because they had 2.5, and Dallas and Rio Grande Valley and Webster drew at 2 points each. So SLU had a half-point lead going into this round.
So it's very close. I think it depends on the results of this round. Can we look at the other games?
Yeah, you can show us.
It's a Dudin against Robbie. 94 b5 is a theory. I think that Dudin forgot to play b3 first instead of a3.
And what is the difference?
The difference is that after b3, taking on b3, Dudin can play a takes b3, which opens the a line, and he can come with very typical ideas for the Catalan to play queen c2, knight d3, knight c5. What he actually tried in the game, but with lack of a3, that his rook is not opening and the rook is not pressuring on a6 pawn. So after he played a3, bishop e7, b3, Ruby just completed his development, and I think he got a very comfortable position.
I'm curious to see where. Was it like a game? Well, we must have missed it earlier. Or I must have missed it earlier. Well, where did Robbie win the pawn?
We won the pawn. Took on c4, and white
Oh,
never
yeah, they never got it back.
got it back.
Okay. So yeah, is this a common gambit? Have you played the Catalan yourself?
Yeah, I played a lot of the Catalan myself.
So like for example here, does Gleb? Okay, so if he takes on c4 now, for example, black can take back like on c3.
Yeah, black can take on c3, and then
And they keep the advantage. They're actually owning another pawn.
I can, and then d4 is
Yeah,
hunting
yeah,
another
yeah.
pawn.
Or
Also,
could you play maybe?
maybe bishop takes c3, and then knight takes c3 with idea of queen takes d4.
Was there bishop b2 on the previous line? If knight takes first, then bishop.
Yeah, bishop b2 here.
Robbie still is up a pawn though, so yeah. What would you normally have done differently if you don't want to go down a pawn or try to recapture the pawn?
Well, in the Catalan, you just sacrifice the pawn. You can't keep the pawn in all of the lines. So I think you just need to play.
So okay, so it's
b3.
b3 instead is what keeps your position equal.
Yeah. Also, another point that after b3, the difference is in some lines the bishop is still on b4. So after knight will go to d3, the bishop on b4 will hanging.
Yeah.
So white get another tempo with his compensation over the pawn.
So do you think this is Gleb maybe playing too quickly? You think he forgot his lines, or you think he just doesn't know?
I think I just forgot his line, because in some lines a3 and then b3 is also an idea for white. But I'm pretty sure that in this line b3 is much more accurate.
All right, we'll have to tell Gleb afterwards.
Okay, so this is the current position.
Yeah, look at the 23 minutes to 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Some serious time odds here from Gleb Duden. And I'll have to talk to Gleb's coach tomorrow, Bartek, during his interview. We still have the UT Rio Grande Valley coach as well as the Webster coach that we haven't talked to yet. So do you have a favorite teammate from UT Dallas, and is it Brian?
Yeah.
Is it because he's the only teammate that's here?
Yeah.
He's the only one that showed up for you. Okay, who's your favorite player that's playing right now? We'll delete this video afterwards. They won't see it. It sounds like your fans know.
Yeah. I think that Aditya, a very close friend for me.
Okay. Is it because he got the only point in the previous round? That makes sense. He's carrying the team right now. He's got the best position too.
Yeah.
Here. So is he your best friend because he's playing so well?
Yeah.
Okay, it's vice versa.
Yeah, it's vice versa.
So maybe the team would be doing better if you were more friends with. I'm just kidding. No, but I do think that teams that are teams that stick together, they perform together. So it's good to have the team camaraderie and the friendship for sure. So yeah, Aditya is doing great. Do you have a fun fact about Aditya?
Honestly, not really.
No? Do you have a fun fact about yourself? Besides being the Israeli champion? Is that the most fun fact about you?
I think so.
So, but you just won that like last month
On January.
or January? So
Yeah.
just earlier. So what was the most fun fact about you before that?
I don't know.
I'll have to ask another Dallas player. Maybe when Brian gets back up here. I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
he will tell all of my secrets.
are you ready to give your spot up to Brian before he gets to say whatever he wants?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. He trusts you. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
luck to your team. All right. So Brian has taken quite the leave of absence here. He's done a good job cycling in different guests. Brian was so okay. So Brian,
People don't know, but I've been working behind the scenes to get all those VIP
yes,
guests, you know, our
we have a
commentary.
rope protecting us from all the fans trying to crash the stage. Brian
Oh.
has been
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh my god, too many pictures. No, stop. Yeah. No, it's too much. Yeah.
so tell us a fun fact about our.
Why don't you
our
tell me a
guest.
fun fact about you?
Fun fact about me?
Yeah.
There's a lot, honestly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell
so
me the first one that comes to your mind.
I won't tell you the
Tell
first.
me, tell
I'll
me
tell
something
you.
that you like that I wouldn't imagine.
So here's one of my favorite fun facts. I have a copy of the Fellowship of the Ring signed by the 4 hobbits.
Okay.
You know what book that is?
I know The Hobbit.
You know, yeah.
I when you say the 4, I'm assuming the 4 actors that
Yes,
play them.
yes. Not
Yeah?
the real hobbits themselves,
Right.
but the actors that played the hobbits.
I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, because the real ones they don't exist, right?
Oh, it was a
Fan
long.
fiction, right?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, maybe. But I honestly I haven't seen the movies. People have
Okay.
told me like you're missing out, bro. I haven't seen Star Wars,
Oh man.
Lord of Rings,
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Okay.
I don't know. I always be more into
Chess.
actually like no like romantic comedies actually. Like
Searching for
I've seen-
Bobby Fischer.
it's a good one. It's a good one. I also think the best depiction of chess in media has been Queen's Gambit by
Yeah,
far.
yeah.
I think.
You're more of a Rocky fan.
I'm more of a Rocky
Yeah,
fan.
yeah.
Yeah, I like Rocky. No, but I'm also into like romantic comedies. I think they're pretty good. You know.
What's
Like,
your favorite?
I like a lot 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah,
Have you seen that one?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah.
And what's and
Zoe
Zoe
Deschanel.
Deschanel.
Yes,
yeah,
of course.
Great movie. What else? I like The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I think it's also a pretty good movie. I would say
I don't think I've seen that one.
it's with Emma Watson
I know her.
and the guy who plays Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Isn't that the director of Lord of the Rings?
No, he's one of the Hobbits, I think, isn't he? No,
What?
maybe.
Well, Peter.
Anyway,
Peter
tell
Jackson.
me, tell me the story. How you got the 4 signs of the.
I went to
Hobbits.
Comic-Con in LA, and
Uh-huh.
all 4 of them were there, so I got it.
Nice. How
Yeah.
much do you think? Are you planning to sell it eventually, or you
No.
will keep it forever?
I'm keeping it forever. They signed it to me, so I don't think the sell value on eBay would be very high
Mm-hmm.
unless someone else named Joe wanted it, because then they'd pretend like they got it signed. But
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather keep it than sell it.
So you read all the books and you watch all the movies.
I'm finishing Return of the King right now. I've
Uh-huh.
seen all the movies, but I'm planning a trilogy to watch the extended editions.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people like Harry Potter more, and I do have to say Harry Potter did have a chess scene in it.
Yeah.
So have you seen that?
I haven't seen.
No.
I'm not into.
So
what?
How can you
how,
say
how would you call those kind of movies?
fantasy,
I guess it's fantasy, right?
sci-fi?
Yeah. It's not
No.
sci-fi specific. I think it's fantasy. I think that's the right term.
So how can you say Queen's Gambit's the best depiction of chess if you haven't seen the Wizard's Chess in Harry Potter?
It's only one scene though. It's like 10 minutes compared to like a whole show. How is that even like a competition?
But maybe that one scene just makes up for it.
I actually watch it.
Yeah, you have to figure it out.
Yeah, actually, I know for a fact that I think a grandmaster helped doing that scene. I think
Yeah?
because the position is unique. Like it never happened in an actual game.
Do you know which Grandmaster?
No.
Yeah,
No.
Who's the most magical Grandmaster?
The most magical grandmaster? Uh, you mean personality wise or like on the board?
Just any form of magic.
I think Grishuk is pretty magical. I would say.
Yeah, Grisha gives wizard energy.
Yeah, he does give this science
For
fiction
sure.
energy. So you have seen all these Star Wars and Harry Potter movies and Star Trek. Yeah, all of them.
Not the like original Star Trek, but
Mhm.
I've seen the recent Star Trek movies. Definitely. I think I would rank Lord of the Rings first,
Mhm.
Star Wars second,
Mhm.
then Harry Potter. I
Mhm.
mean, I like the newer Star Trek movies for sure, but I couldn't call myself a real Star Trek fan.
Mhm. But you would call yourself a real Lord of the Rings fan.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I dressed up as Gandalf as Halloween for
Nice.
Halloween.
Nice.
Um,
I know for a fact that I think it's in Germany every year there's like some kind of convention where they project the whole three movies like for the public, and then people just get together and dress as the characters and drink and watch the movie at the same time, you know?
I gotta go.
Yeah, definitely.
I gotta go visit.
Definitely, yeah. I would think so. I was gonna ask you, who's your favorite chess player?
My favorite chess player to watch
Apart from me.
on stream, besides, well, do you stream?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I gotta go. What's your channel?
My channel?
Yeah, we'll shout it out.
On Twitch?
Yeah,
I have a Twitch. I have a YouTube channel, but it's in Spanish though.
In Spanish.
So-
I gotta practice.
Yeah?
Sí.
See?
Mi español es muy terrible.
It's alright.
No.
It's okay.
Necesito practicar.
It's good. I think it's good enough, I would say.
You'll teach me?
No.
No.
Probably not.
So I won't watch your YouTube channel then, I guess.
That's okay. We
I
will,
know-
we will stay at 8K views. It won't go to
So
800.
chess in Spanish, ajedrez.
Ajedrez, sí. It's actually called Ajedrez de la Selva. De la Selva means from the jungle because I was born in the jungle of Peru.
Okay.
Not the actual like jungle, but like the jungle area, close to the Amazonas. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah, so I grew up playing there, so I decided to call my channel like that. But I've been thinking
Oh.
about having one in English and one in Spanish. I just haven't decided yet when to.
Okay.
What do you recommend, by the way? You as a person who works in social media and chess.
I would recommend that you do make a English channel. 'Cause
Definitely.
I think
As a must.
you'll have a wider audience that you could reach.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you could do something similar like Anna Kramling. She does both.
So does she record twice, or does she just translates?
I think she'll do unique content for both. But
Okay.
I'm not sure. I was going to say my favorite chess content creator is Daniel Naroditsky.
Oh yeah,
I love watching his streams. I think he's really funny.
he's a cool guy.
I think he's also one of the best commentators out there, alongside Robert Hess. I think the two of them together is unbeatable.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a preference?
Someone asked me this actually recently, and I said I really like how Jam Gustafsson commentates. Although I understand not everyone is a fan of his style, because sometimes a little bit dry. But I think his content itself is pretty good, and then his builder is also amazing. I would say. I don't
Yeah.
know how often he commentates nowadays though, but he used to do a lot for Chess 24. So like every now and then, let's say I would just I will be having lunch, and I would just type Chess 24 is builder, pick one of the videos and watch it while I eat. I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
useful to improve.
I think we've got another slew result against UT Rio Grande,
Oh, let's see.
and it looks like UTRGV got a full point here against Nicolosi. So we had Varakobian on earlier. He definitely said that Nicolosi made a mistake with the move A5, not playing B5. And so let's see. This is last time we saw it.
I mean, there's no. Oh, this is the analysis. Okay, Rook 81, Rook takes. Rook takes. I mean, yeah, in general, white's preferable because of the bishop and all the pawns being on the dark squares, right? That's the main issue. Rook d8.
So yeah, he trades both rooks,
Uh huh.
and now the white king is gonna enter.
Just goes to b5. Okay, like there's 96, I guess, for now, but the thing is, for how long can you just keep waiting, right? With the black
Well,
pieces.
if you go there immediately, can't white push maybe on e5? Or is that too much?
You mean? Sorry, what do you mean?
If black goes knight to d6, trying to
Right.
keep the king out,
I'll probably play e5. Yeah, you're right.
e5 is there.
And then if not 96, then what happened is h5.
So now king enters, or
No,
check.
because then it's check.
Then
So
you get check,
can either
okay.
play g3 or h3.
You just
I
wait.
think. Either one is fine. Yeah. g6 and g4.
Another question mark.
Yeah. And this is what I was telling you. Like the main issue in this kind of position is not only that
Oh my god.
the engine is saying that white's winning, it's also like his moves are pretty natural, you know. So when the moves are easy to find and they're also good, that's when you know you're in trouble, you know. If that makes sense. So after g4, takes. Yeah, it's pretty rough for black to kind of hold everything while not. I mean, he needs to worry about the f6 pawn. He needs to worry about the king entering to b5, and f5 maybe potentially. So yeah,
Yeah.
he play here. And,
Oh, Sacktown.
and this is yeah.
Because
this
so
game-
I thought e5 was good, but it turns out e5 is good second.
Mhm.
Take first, getting straight to the point.
No, I mean okay, because the point is already on g6, right? Like that's why it takes, and then this endgame is winning because white has basically virtually a pawn up here, you know, compared to these three pawns
Yeah.
that cannot make a pass pawn. He went for b5, but yeah, it's not enough.
Takes, and
The pawn promotes.
that pawn is running. Takes, push.
White wins.
Yeah, nice smooth victory here for Jose.
Mm-hmm.
And Slew goes down a point here.
So
UT
that-
Rio Grande could be really helping out Webster.
So they only have 2 boards left, right? On the first round, what was the final result of Webster against who they played?
Webster drew against
UTRGV.
UTRGV 2-2.
2-2.
Slew had the only win, 2.5 to 1.5 against UT Dallas. So right now UTRGV is leading against Slew. Slew has 2 board. We've been looking at Robbie's game. It looks like Gleb Duden is actually under a minute maybe on the clock,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. But this game looks to be a bit more even.
White's slightly pressuring, mainly because of this king situation. Of course, if they were to trade queens, then yeah, the king on e7 will be ideal. But we will see if black is able to achieve that, right? And yeah, I will say white is definitely putting pressure, but black should be able to hold here. Let's take a look at the one you said, Robbie.
Yeah, looks like Robbie's pushing.
6 e5, knight e4, giving back a pawn, but this pawn on b3 will be a torture for a nightmare for white. So he took, and then queen b5.
Yeah, and look at the clock. Gleb Duden's literally living off the increment right now with only 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Robbie's got 17 minutes. But the evaluation has been a lot better for Gleb than in recent moves. So even in time pressure, it seems that he's been playing well. But with this sort of time pressure, any moment he could make a mistake.
So actually, he does tend to get in time trouble pretty often, I would say. At the same time, he has built his skill of playing good moves in time trouble, but of course, it's not ideal, to have 5 seconds against 17 minutes.
2 seconds. Once he's got to move. 35 seconds. He made that.
Do we have a camera?
Yeah, I mean, we see both players there.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we can show that on the streaming right now.
Yeah, do we want the full player cam?
Yeah, I think we want the full player cam. Since Duding has 1 minute.
All right, so well, it's Robbie's turn. So Robbie's gonna keep him there at the clock.
He should use his extra time. Otherwise, there's no point in having extra time, honestly.
Yeah, so this is Brian's advice.
Most,
that
peop-
he's
most,
shared.
most people tend to play faster. They believe that, oh, he has low time, then I should start playing even faster. But I mean, it's the total opposite, you know. At that point, you might as well also have 1 second in your clock.
Yeah, first round we saw Slew finish against Dallas pretty quickly, and all the Webster and UTRGV players were still there. But here we see the playing hall still pretty packed with all the players. We've got one of your teammates there walking around, observing.
Aditya, yeah. Aditya, as of right now, we have C1 takes. Our audience cannot see the screen, but in general, he's just much better. I'm surprised he's walking around, but yeah, he's much better. Still, like and now it gets to those moments where each player has like less than 10 minutes, and anything can happen basically. It's about who can control their nerves better basically. Let's see. Balaji against Lazaro.
Okay, we see some moves on the board now.
So what did Glenn play? Robbie play?
Yeah, Gleb with the white pieces for UT Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah, you see, like this is exactly what I meant. Like here, Anna, if we can share the board again, please.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, we are
Yep.
sharing. Okay, so this is what I meant. Like here, Robbie has 16 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and Duden just played Rook C6, which is a move that honestly looks a little bit loose. Like there's probably a lot of tactics, So he should be spend a little bit of time here, But he blitz out Rook CD8 in 12 seconds, and
Miss.
Queen B5, yeah, would have been much better for Black here. As after Queen takes, I mean, otherwise you're losing the Rook, like sorry the Queen. He needs to play Queen C8, Rook takes C8, Rook takes
Brutal.
King H7, and now these 2 pawns just
wow.
start pushing,
Yeah, that looks really good for Robbie. You give up 2 rooks for the queen, but your outside pass pawns look unstoppable. So that'd be a really good end game for Robbie. But Robbie blitzed out a move like you said, just
Yeah.
attacking the queen.
Queen F5, and now Duden is back in the game. Actually, I would even say it might even start looking a little bit scary. Honestly, like there's some ideas with Bishop H6 at this point,
Wow. Yeah, sacrifice. Obviously, the F pawn is hanging as well. The rook on C6, as you said, maybe a questionable move, maybe even a little loose. Now it's actually a very strong piece in the attack.
Mm-hmm. He played King G8, and now I think taking on G7 looks quite good.
Computer also likes bishop takes H6.
Yeah, taking on H6. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, the only thing I'll be worried about if, let's say, I take something like Queen D5 or Queen B5. How is this? Like, I can just take the pawn. Okay. And if I go to B5, yeah, Rook BC1 or Queen G4. Rook BC1, I guess.
yeah, Gleb's in time pressure yet again. Is he gonna sacrifice?
He should, I think. I think he needs to press the...
That's a hard move to play when you have no time. He goes for it.
Yeah.
He's just played it.
You need to, yeah. It's those... You need to press the
Wow.
all-in button.
And Robbie's allowed this, which is also kind of questionable, not only as you mentioned because of his huge time advantage, but also because of the match. He's trailing. His teammate lost, Nicolosi.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only 2 boards left, but Soren we see is sitting there behind Gleb Duden, and Gleb's teammate, that's Sean Rodriguez Lemieux, is watching this development. I'm sure Sean is happy to see the complications because
Definitely.
Gleb was doing much worse previously, and now Robbie has to sit here with a bishop having just taken his pawn and knowing that he must have had something better earlier if he
Definitely.
had used his time.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably now regretting the fact that he didn't spend the time when he had the chance, you know. Now, once this is the thing, you know, like if you give them one chance to keep fighting, they will keep fighting, you know. I mean, nobody wants to lose a chess game. And so, and Dudin, like, clearly, he understands that there's no point in playing passive at this moment, you know. He needs to go for it if he doesn't see anything wrong with the move bishop h6, and he does. Robbie
Right.
took on d4.
Yeah.
He took on d4,
Grabs the pawn,
stopping also queen g4.
and now you want bishop takes g7.
It's probably the move, yeah, I would think, or bishop e3, either one.
Bishop g7, and then what's he gonna follow up with? E6.
So bishop takes g7, king takes e6, not possible because of the queen is hanging, but rook f6 is possible. With the idea of if bishop takes pawn takes check and then
Okay, yeah. Discovery. Okay,
yeah.
well, Gleb didn't take on g7 though. He brought his bishop back.
He went to f4.
Question mark. It's so hard to play with increment.
Yeah.
With just increment, I should say. Yeah, so you know, Robbie playing a little too quickly, not the most accurate, but he's not getting punished because Gleb just doesn't have the time. He finds one sacrifice, but he doesn't go all in.
Yeah, and I mean also has to do with the nerves, I guess, and everything. But basically, I wanted to point out that here, why sort of need to understand that if he plays slow, you know, like he's, I mean, material is equal, but position-wise, Black can just move the queen and start pushing this pawn, and Black should be winning pretty comfortably, you know. And because of this main issue, he needs to play very, very concrete and just go for a sacrifice, you know. Even if he's not able to calculate everything until the end, as long as it looks interesting, he needs to go for it because practically speaking, the other option is just suffering, you know. That's the
Rook f6 is such a hard follow-up move, but I love it's attacking the f pawn. If Black plays Rook f8, Brian,
then
we got a brutal ladder mate there.
Then we
Game over.
Yeah,
and
GG.
then Gleb wins.
Then Gleb wins
from behind, which is incredible.
Yeah.
But no, Gleb couldn't find it within him to find this.
And after Rook f6, there's literally no other
double
way.
piece sack, basically.
There's no other way than
you just gotta let that pawn
let it, I mean, you need to allow the perpetual. There's no option to keep playing, you know, like Queen g5
and it's perpetual.
Yeah, that's it basically.
It looks like White could try to find some sort of mate, but it's just not.
Right, but I'm saying like worst case, you know, you have the draw already,
which would be good for Gleb given his time pressure. But
Correct.
No, so he brings the bishop back. Now, as you had called out, Robbie can just attack the rook.
Yeah, Queen b5, Rook c7. But then, yeah, once again, the issue is that he doesn't have that many threats, you know. Like,
And now the pawns can roll.
Yeah, I think just a5. I don't see any sort of idea White could have, apart from maybe h4, h5, h6. But okay, that takes 3 tempi, right? e6 not possible because the queen is always pinned. And then bringing the other rook to the action also allows the b pawn to start running, you know.
Maybe if we get another raid from Botez, we'll see e6
Maybe.
for
Hopefully.
the Botez gambit.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Let's see how the other games are doing. So that was Dudin, and Sean is still around equal. They both low on time though, so I think anything can happen here also. Let's see how Andre is doing. I think Andre is a clear pawn up
And up on time.
and up on time.
So looking really good for the international master, Andre McAvey from UT Dallas up against Harsha Bharadakoti from Webster. So this would be really good for the Dallas team to bounce back.
This is an important victory, definitely. Yeah, it's especially because Harsha is their first board, you know. So I think this is pretty important. Hopefully he converts he should be able to with the time advantage and also the extra pawn. So
Yeah,
that,
we liked Aditya's position as well
let's take a
for the
look at
Dallas team.
Aditya's.
I heard Aditya is a fan favorite.
Yeah, he definitely is. Let's see, Queen e6, Rook c1, takes. Why did he take?
Queen trade question mark.
Why did he take? So I'm threatening Rook c7.
Well, it's confusing. Usually you like to trade queens based off of king safety, right? So it looks like black's pawns really pushed. The king doesn't look too safe compared to white's king, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But the computer disagrees. It really likes keeping the queens on.
Yeah, and not only computer-wise, just like let's say, logically speaking, I don't wanna give white the time to get the knight to b3 and then to c5. You know?
Yeah.
Like ideally, I would like him to take on e6. Like
Yeah, and let our rook take.
correct, but maybe he couldn't find a way to defend on c7 without losing material. Yeah.
So
Apparently, the best move was bishop f8.
What's the response after rook takes c7?
Apparently now I think the bishop on c7 in on e2 is actually hanging. I think that's
the problem.
yeah,
So there's no time to take.
correct. But that's it's a little bit hard to assess. You know, like there's ideas with queen f7 here, but maybe the rook on h6 is just covering everything. Yeah, it was rough. Like I with 1 minute on the clock, it's hard to find those kind of moves. You know,
Well, that's not the end of the story. So queen takes, knight takes,
bishop
helping
e5,
out. Bishop
rook b1,
question mark
king
again.
a7. Yeah,
So-
I'm surprised he didn't play knight c5 or g3. Yeah, g3 will also have been good. Rook b1, king a7, bishop f1. I think he's trying to get his bishop to g2. Maybe not. Rook e1, rook d5, g3 takes.
Another big question
He
mark.
should have played h3
You should push.
in order to avoid the bishop on getting to g2.
But he wanted to open up the h file for his rook.
Seems like it, yeah.
He
but
wants to double his rooks. But yeah, bishop to g2 is a good move.
yeah.
Really defensive as well, covering the h1 square.
Mm-hmm.
So is this a light position?
It is.
Okay, wow. So it's really evened up here. And Aditya is actually down on time. So your countryman, bringing it back.
Oh, for a second I thought you meant Aditya, and I was like, am I Indian? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it seems like it. I'm a little bit surprised. I thought he was under control, like Aditya had everything under control. But yeah, it's not easy. Especially Emilio knows pretty well. You know, like he knew he was worse. I'm pretty sure, and he started playing a little bit faster than usual in order to get Aditya to this position. You know, that's also where the experience kind of shows up. You know, so yeah, I mean, things are getting messier. Aditya went for bishop b7.
Double exclam. Brilliant.
I'll say great practical move because I mean moving the rook wasn't an option here. Like as white would just take the pawn without even thinking twice.
Lots
so-
of checks.
So bishop b7.
Yeah, I love this. The exchange sacrifice, if white takes, that might be in over their head because rook h1 was a strong idea.
Yeah, no, that'll be just completely winning. And now he's threatening. And now he's actually threatening rook dh5. I think.
Yeah, threatening a good old checkmate.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I don't know.
chances still for Aditya. He's a fighter. He's like Rocky.
Great move. He's like Rocky. I don't know. Maybe he's more like Apollo Creed. I don't know.
Okay.
Or maybe more like Ivan Drago. What do you think?
I don't know enough.
You don't know enough.
I don't know Aditya enough to know.
I think. Let me think. What do you think? He's like a movie character like. Yeah, you know. Let me think of a superhero that reminds me of him. I don't know. I feel like I feel like he's more of a Hulk. I feel like.
Okay.
I think he's a Hulk. You
So
know?
don't make him mad.
Correct. Yeah,
Got
don't make
it.
him mad. Yeah, I think that's the best analogy.
So also we have a result for the SLU team. Batsuran drew
Against
Against
Sean.
Sean.
So that means the score currently is 1 for UTRGB.
1.5
No, there's 2 draws, right?
plus.
I mean,
No, Nicolosi lost. Yeah, to Jose.
so I'm saying it's +1 for UTRGB.
Yeah,
right?
they're up 1, but if Robbie wins, they tie the match 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
So UTRGV hoping Gleb Duden maybe can pull off a miracle, which
Yeah.
isn't too far fetched.
No, it is possible,
Yeah.
but
Oh, there's only one move here.
yeah, it's taking the pawn on E5.
I love taking pawns.
They're good. Yeah,
So-
they're healthy. Let's say Queen F3
What else could White have done differently?
instead of Bishop G5. I mean, it's hard to say already.
G6. It's just
I would have thought his best chance was to play H4, H5, H6, but even that's too slow. I think I don't. That's what I was telling you. Like the issue with this kind of position is like it's not only that you're worse, it's also like you have almost no counterplay. You know, that's the main issue here.
we got a Sean fan in chat. Counter Sparks. If anyone know who Counter Sparks is,
I don't know who counters here.
well, they're a fan of Sean.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, Sean drew against Batsuran, which isn't terrible.
Yeah, no,
But-
it's all it's up to Dudin, but most likely I think the match will end up 2-2, most likely.
Yeah, we could either stick with Duden or Harsha. Like both the players are so low on time, they'll be continually like maybe we'll cheer on Andre Makove.
I want to take a look at Carolus. I think.
Yeah, Corollas also very low on time here. This is crazy.
Yeah, no, Carolus is pretty hard to defend. Not only he's down on time, he's also pawn down, a pass pawn. Yeah, this is pretty rough to defend. I mean, if he manages to get a draw, that would be amazing, but I doubt it, honestly.
Yeah, Yasser's got the passer.
Yeah, so he got the passer, though. You're a rapper, huh? I can see your freestyle skills right there, huh?
Yeah. That took me a long time to come up with that.
Oh, okay. It's okay. But yeah, let's see. Andrej is converting.
We're getting some compliments in the chat.
Guys, you're doing a great job with the commentating. It can be tough with the amount of time between moves. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, AJ 2087. Whoever you are, you're the best. But yeah.
Yeah, and thank you to Landon as well. Unfortunately, you guys have to wait 10 minutes to hear our response.
Oh, that's true.
But we appreciate it nonetheless. Also, it helps to make movie references between the moves.
Yeah.
So
we can also make music references. What kind of music do you like?
rap, apparently.
You like rap?
No, not really. I'm more of a classic rock kind of guy.
Like,
But-
tell me a band.
Clarence Creedwater Revival. You know
No, I
CCR?
think that's too niche for me to know.
Maybe Daryl knows some CCR. Yeah, that's a thumbs up from Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
Daryl and I listen to the same stuff. I'm sure. Yeah. All right. Okay. Corollas was not looking great. Now we've got Balaji not looking great. So Webster's doing a number here on the Dallas players.
Yeah, I mean, okay, at least I think Balaji's game still, he's sort of fighting. I think Caroli's game is pretty hard to defend already, but here, both of them with a lot of pieces on the board and being below 5 minutes, I think it might get quite tricky.
The previous round, we really we had a lot of games finish, and then it seemed like we didn't have much. But here, it's like we have too many games to choose. We're running out of time on all the games.
We do. Emilio, after Bishop B7, great move by Aditya. He did find A6.
Wow.
Good.
And what King takes doesn't work?
if king takes, which is what happened in the game.
Oh my God!
Now-
Another double.
Now
Check.
rook check
King move.
and knight a5.
Just pressure, and then what? We play bishop a8.
I think what's going on is that after bishop a8, I have knight c4. Is that
Check, and you want a rook takes a8.
pawn takes? But pawn takes, I think do I take on c4 or do I take on a8?
Or you check me again.
I can check you again too. I could honestly.
Oh my God, dude, these players are.
And they have 30 seconds, which is pretty hard to
Oh
calculate.
my God.
He went for rook c5. He found it. Boom.
I don't even understand.
So basically, the rook on c2 is hanging, so he needs to trade on c5. But after he trades on c5, I will take first on g2.
Wow.
Then you want to take on g2, and then I will take on c5 back. That's the whole point.
And you don't want to save your rook
That's what he took.
because the bishop just comes back, and you're threatening mate.
You mean save it as you playing
So
like
you're
on
saying bishop takes g2 intermezzo,
correct?
and
Yeah.
and white cannot save the rook.
No, because then I would just bring the bishop to f3, and it will
And it's
be
just GG.
it will be probably close to checkmate.
Ugh.
So he took, takes and takes.
So many brilliancies in this game.
Yeah, they both are
The game review is gonna go crazy,
calculating pretty sharp.
and it's still even.
Despite the time scramble, you know.
How do they do it?
Stickleman,
They practice with bullet,
And
right?
that's why they're playing in the final four, right?
This is why we have the pros.
Of course.
These are the professionals.
Yeah, we do.
They earned their place here.
Mm-hmm.
So absolute time scramble. They're playing calm, cool, collected. Some of the best moves we've seen so far this event. And has the dust cleared? Has it settled? What do we have? Bishop versus knight.
It's 3 against 3. I wouldn't call it a draw yet. I think there's still a lot of game to go, especially taking into account the fact that the black king is more active. I think that's a important factor. Then these two pawns, the f2 and g3, could potentially be an issue for white. And on white's side, I think he has the c4 square for his knight, which is ideal. At the same time, the d3 pawn can potentially become a weakness. You know,
Mhm.
like imagine something like getting the rook to e6 maybe. I would probably play king f1 to stop rook e2. Yeah, it should be around equal, but still a lot of game to go, I would think.
Did you want to look at maybe McAvey's position?
Let's take a look.
Some hope for Dallas
Bishop
yet?
f7, bishop e4, good move, not to trade the bishops. Rook c5, bishop f1. Rook
What's the
c7.
bishop doing there?
That's a good question, honestly.
Where's it going? This is
It's-
not great.
It's just trapped. Like there's no.
He has no moves.
Yeah, he has no moves. Honestly, he's just lost now.
He's setting up for the next game.
That's why he played king h8,
King h8.
bishop d5.
No moves.
There's no moves.
So is white gonna mate the black king? You need another piece up there.
Honestly, at this point, you don't even need to mate him. You can just consolidate, play bishop e3, then slowly, maybe like capture the pawns. You know, like there's nothing black can do on the meantime, basically. Yeah, that's why he played a5. And now just consolidate. I think it's important whenever you have the advantage and everything looking pretty well, just stop as much as possible your opponent's counterplay. For example, he just played a5, right? That means that now the bishop can potentially go to a6. So then you just play rook a7, attack the pawn, stop the retirement from the bishop, and black cannot really do that much, honestly.
You're making it look easy.
Am I?
Maybe it is easy.
I mean, at this point, I do think it's pretty trivial. I think white will win almost
he goes to
nine
c5
out of 10
instead.
times.
So now bishop a6.
Yeah, and he will take the pawn
and
anyway.
then tempo, and you gotta bring
Yeah.
the bishop back.
Yeah, that's true. So king g7. Yeah, I think that maybe why rook a7 was better, just to not allow the
The
king to
king
come
out
to
with the
king.
tempo.
Yeah, but
Or
still,
yeah. Okay.
why should be
Grab a
winning?
pawn. Yeah, look at that king go. He's living life.
Why should be winning
At
pretty
large.
comfortably here?
Doesn't matter. Okay. So maybe we look at Balaji.
This is Balaji's current position. It looks,
We have so many decisive games in this match.
yeah.
It's all gonna come back down to Aditya. Really?
So what's the status? So Andre wins. Carol is most likely will lose. Balaji seems like it's pretty tough to defend at this point. I
So
will
you gotta
say.
stop f7.
Yeah,
So what? You gotta block with the knight.
but then the issue is that I play knight b7.
That's a big issue.
Yeah,
So but you can't go rook d7 though.
same thing.
So
Even worse.
oh, that is even worse. So you gotta push your pawn. That doesn't look good.
I mean the thing is that
I'll take it.
I don't think.
So you can't defend it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to defend.
Indefendable.
It's like indefendable. Yeah.
That's why it's winning.
That's the right word. I think it's undefendable. Yeah.
Resignable.
Maybe. Honestly. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so wait. Let's look at Aditya's game again. This is gonna decide if Emilio draws or wins. It's a win for Webster. But if Aditya wins, he keeps it even.
Did he play already? No.
Oh, he did. Did he do that?
No,
that's
no.
analysis. Yeah,
No.
He's just sitting in the.
I mean he's trying to find a way that he
he's
can
looking
complicate
for
the
more
game.
options
Yeah,
than we saw.
Some ideas, but it's hard to come out with anything. You know. You can see the whole.
Sack the exchange now.
Yeah, that will also lose. It's just yeah. There's too much domination by the white pieces.
Wait. Can he push his pawn? What was wrong with that?
A5.
No.
He
The
could.
F pawn.
Yeah, but then I'll probably just take.
No, his other F pawn.
Oh, F6. You mean? I'll probably take on F5.
But then. Oh. Okay. No, I give up now.
Then maybe takes and D4, but then I can probably just. Yeah, I push E6.
Ouch. That hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't see any way to create problems for white. Here.
Wait. Aditya's game ended with a draw.
So
We
what
have
happened
results.
Here? So after a check, he went king c3, rook a4. He took on g3.
Wow.
He played queen
Discovery.
c4.
Check. Take. Another check. Take and draw.
Draw. Yeah.
Oh, because the knight can't move because the rook falls.
Right.
So he gets the piece back.
Correct. And yeah, it is a draw.
So
Yeah.
they shake hands. Oh, we have another result. So McAvey won as we expected.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it looks like Webster should win this one on the remaining two. And yeah, I mean, I think Slew and Webster will be tied going to round 3. And if they tie tomorrow, then I don't know. It depends on what happens between the Texas teams. So
Yeah.
yeah, looks like the remaining 3 games are all looking to be decisive. We already have a result. Yasser Quesada Perez
Yes, already won.
won his game.
Yeah.
So the games are dropping like flies here. We're wrapping up quickly here. We've
So
got
we only have
2 games left.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's take a look at Robbie against Dudin.
Duden must be exhausted. He's been losing all day.
Yeah. I don't know. It just happens sometimes, I guess.
I mean, he's been playing with less than a minute on his clock for like the last 30 minutes.
Wait, what do you mean he's been losing all day? You mean this game or
Just
like?
this, yeah, this.
Oh,
game.
okay. Because he did win in the morning, right?
I think he did.
He beat. Who did he beat?
Do we have the games?
Yeah,
Gleb
beat
won against Harsha.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't mean all day, all day. I meant
Okay.
I meant all game, really. For this
Yeah.
whole, I mean, chess is brutal. He's been trying to defend this for the longest time. I mean, the game's not over yet, but
Yeah, there's almost no weaknesses. That's the main issue.
Robbie's just been enjoying the pawn advantage.
Yeah, now just 2 pawns for nothing. Rookie 2 push the pawns like. Yeah, no, I mean Robbie's gonna win this game, and that will mean that Slew and
They'll tie.
UTRGB they tie,
Yes.
and that means Slew has 4.5, correct?
Yes, and so will Webster.
And UTRGB has 4,
They'll have 4.
and Webster. So if Lazaro wins his game, which most likely
Which he will.
will happen, yeah.
We looked at this and said it was bad.
No, it is,
Because-
but I just want to see what happened in the game. Yeah, he played 5.
Yeah. So he did end up pushing the A-pawn.
Yeah, no, he just took the pawn
Take
and
a
then
check, comes straight back.
yeah, to not allow the knight to get to c6. Next thing he will take on f5 and
And then he'll take more pawns.
yeah. So
He's taking every pawn. I wish I had his position.
so let me think. If Lazaro wins, that means Webster also has 4.5, right?
Yeah, Webster will be 4.5.
So
Slew will have
4.5,
4.5.
4.5, 4 and 3, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it'll be quite the finale tomorrow. We've got a huge match between the leaders, Slew and Webster. And then we've got the battle between the Texas teams.
That's true.
So, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what happens if, imagine Webster and Slew tie 2-2 tomorrow. They'll end at 6.5 each. And then I'm trying to make this as complicated as possible. Imagine Rio Grande Valley also beats Dallas 2.5.
Right.
That'll be a 3-way tie at 6.5.
Correct.
So what's the tie break? You look at head to head, but there's 3 teams.
I don't know what's
And
the
Slew and Webster.
what does
tie
the
each
ruling
other.
say? I will assume the second tiebreak is match points. I would think.
Okay, so if you think it that way, Slew would have 1 win. Webster will also have 1 win, and UTRGV would also have
1 win.
1 win. So what's the next tiebreak you got?
Maybe more victories with black, I think.
More victories with black?
Yeah, this is called Sonnenberger.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually applied also in Swiss tournaments.
I say we look at collegiate chess league results.
We can. We
Um,
should probably, since
That'd be crazy.
That's what
No.
matters.
Yeah, imagine they do a blitz tiebreak. Would
I-
that be fun?
I don't think that ever happened before.
No.
At least not-
Has there ever been a 3-way tie?
I don't think there is. No, I don't think so. At least not that I remember in the last 3 years or 4 years they haven't tied. Usually one team just wins by a
So
big margin.
so what's gonna actually happen is there's gonna be a winner between Slew and Webster.
Most likely, yeah. And that team will be
That's
the
gonna that's gonna be
team.
brutal.
unless let's say like UTRGB also wins by like a big margin, let's say, and then they could potentially tie.
UTRGV wins by 3-1.
But in that case, it wouldn't matter because if it were to be match points, then Webster will win.
Webster,
If Webster wins the match,
yeah,
I mean,
Webster.
whoever wins the match will win if it's match points.
No, Webster and UTRGV tied each other.
Yeah, but they will have won 2 matches.
True.
Doesn't really matter honestly what we're talking, but yeah,
We'll find out tomorrow.
we'll find out tomorrow. Yeah.
So, everyone, be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Also, we got some discussion about some wizardry. I can't believe that conversation was 10 minutes ago. Felt like more. The last game, You saw it on the camera?
Why already won?
Yeah, we're still getting the moves in on the board, I guess.
Yeah, but
Or the
I
result
mean,
has to come in.
Lazaro already won, most likely, yeah.
All right, so yeah, players have evacuated the playing hall because they all want to go home and rest, which I have a feeling some other people in this room also have the same feeling.
I feel you.
It's been a long day. We've had 2 rounds, so round 1 and round 2. Quite an exciting day of chess, right? I mean, UTRGV holding Slew to a draw, getting a big point against Nicolosi, and Slew's captain Robbie making sure he clinched his win against Duden in a long fought match. And meanwhile, you've got Webster taking down the Dallas team, thanks to a team effort.
Yeah, it's always a team effort, definitely.
A lot of decisive results as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, everyone is aware of the fact that match points don't really matter. What matters is individual points, and therefore, as soon as they have a chance, they just need to go for it, you know. And that's why we're seeing so many decisive results, basically.
Yeah, so we've got some exciting, aggressive chess being played. We've got some time scrambles, some brilliant moves.
Right.
A lot of brilliant moves and some blunders, some mistakes, and ultimately an exciting matchup, all going to conclude tomorrow in round 3, the grand finale of the President's Cup. So we have some crazy tiebreak scenarios. A potential 3-way tie is possible. A potential comeback from UTRGV. Dallas could sweep them 4-0 in an unlikely comeback for 7 total points.
I mean, Dallas could potentially still win Final Four.
Exactly.
If they win 4-0.
So the hometown crowd keeping their fingers crossed. But ultimately, if Slew or Webster win tomorrow in their match, they will be the most likely victor. So everyone, thanks for watching. Tune in tomorrow. And I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Susquehanna, who's doing a poker tournament that is also today. I don't know if it's still going on. But maybe we can put up the showdown. And yeah, maybe check it out. If it's still live, you can go see what happened. It's on YouTube. So go check out Susquehanna's YouTube channel. And I think with that, Brian, we can call it a day.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining for the streaming, and we will see you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Take care.